Hey, it's me, AP, aka Mr. Movie Cheer, and welcome back to another episode. And on this episode, I'm going to be discussing the movie room films I've been watching over October. So let's get to it. So this month's been a bit of a mix of a lot of Halloween horror movies, but I've also watched some other films in between as well. But the majority here are going to be a lot of horror stuff thrown in for this one. I've been doing the 31 days of horror challenge over October. So a lot of these are new watches, some re-watches. I've enjoyed it though. So let's get to it. Some physical. We got some DVDs, 4K, and some I've watched digitally as well, streamed. So first one I want to discuss is 28 Weeks Later, the sequel to 28 Days Later. This movie is one I remember watching. You know what? If I'm being honest, I don't know whether I watched it all. I remember years ago watching the intro bit. I don't know whether I watched the full movie. Maybe only watched parts of it. I can't really. I couldn't remember any of this. So it was very much. If I have watched it, it felt like a first time watch for me. I counted it as a first time watch. This one. So this is a sequel, set 28 weeks later after the original movie. I'm not too sure of the year or how many. I think it came out a couple of years after the original movie. I think the original one was 2002. This is 2007. I don't think Danny Boyle actually directed this one though. So it was. I think he was like a producer. I know he returned for the new one 28 years later. But yeah, for 28 weeks later, he wasn't directing. Basically, it's the virus is, the initial wave of this sort of like this zombie-like virus, this rage virus, has been eradicated. They've all starved to death. They've set up the US Army have set up this like base in London where it's like a secure safe zone, but they can't go outside that safe zone. And then you get these two children whose mother is immune after. I don't want to spoil it too much, but she's immune to the virus. And then these kids are kind of like these kids come back into this safe zone. They want to explore the world, and then we see this sort of story develop. Robert Carlyle's in this as the father figure. Well, the father figure, he is actually the father of these two young kids. And it is, look, I will say, I've heard a lot of people mention the opening scene to this movie, that it is phenomenal. And I will say that the opening scene is really, really good. I wouldn't say it's phenomenal, astronomically amazing, but it is a really good scene where it is just pure shock. Shock. You're just like, wow, what's going on here? It's. I think it's more gruesome. It feels more gruesome, more on the edge of your seat than the first one. I actually think it's a better movie than the first one, if I'm being honest. I think it's a really good movie. It feels like the whole movie's kind of like a just a chase scene. They're just being chased constantly. The main characters throughout this movie, it feels like, and they're trying to just escape death. And it's a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to I will say though, because I've not seen the new one yet. I'm gonna watch it. I'm intending to watch it over this next final week of 31 Days of Horror Challenge. I'm hoping that they kind of like take elements from this one. I don't know whether anyone returns character wise, whether any of the themes from the second one return. Because I know it feels like maybe they're basing it more from the first movie. Because I know the main guy, I forget his name from the first movie, Jim. His character's going to return. Forget the actor's name from Oppenheimer, Peaky Blinders. It'll come to me in a bit, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the third one now to see how it goes. These are not the best movies ever, I don't think, anyway, in regards to that sort of like zombie category of movies, but I think they are really entertaining at times, and especially the second one. I found it a lot more entertaining than the first one. A lot more action going on there, which I really do enjoy to watch. So that one, 28 Weeks Later. Really good watch, that one. Next we go to, this was on a stream. I was watching this on I think it was on Disney Plus. Fright Night, the remake, and this is one I've watched before. Come out a good few years ago now, starring Colin Farrell as the main vampire, and the guy who I think he passed away. The guy who was in the is it Anton Yemmer? I can't remember his surname. I've not wrote these down. This is a thrown together episode this morning, guys. But yeah, I watched the remake years ago for the first time before watching the original Fright Night movie. Fright Night, obviously an '80s classic. And I watched it, and you got David Tennant in the as taking Roddy McDowall's role in this film, and it is a really fun movie. And I think it is, comparing them both now, I haven't seen both movies. What I like is the remake is it takes elements from the original movie, but I feel like it goes a different direction. I think it's like there's definitely the characters are named as same names and stuff like this, but the actual story just takes a different sort of direction, which I like. It's not like it's just a carbon copy, like copy and paste, remaking this for a new audience, just a new cameras, new generation, and that's what I really liked. And I think for me, that's where I can really appreciate both movies. And it kind of reminds me of it, similar to the Total Recall remake. Another one Colin Farrell was actually in, and that was actually really good as well. I enjoyed that. And yeah, this one is I think it's a fun movie. Don't get me wrong, I think the original one is, for me, the far superior movie. I think it's a better movie, more enjoyable. I just like a guy like Roddy McDowall. But I do enjoy this movie as well. I think it's a fun movie, and I think if you kind of if you've watched the original, maybe you're on the fence, you're like, I don't want to see a remake of one of my favourite movies. I would say just give it a shot, because it is actually a fun movie to watch. Again, very much like the first one, a fun movie over Halloween. Definitely one made for Halloween. So Fright Night Remake, well worth checking out if you've not already, folks. Next, I go to a movie, got it on DVD here, Dawn of the Dead, the original movie. This is the second in the Night of the Living Dead franchise. Great movie. I was discussing this with my buddy Scott the movie critic. I know he's a big fan of these movies. We're talking about the Night of the Living Dead, this one, and so this is the middle one. Night of the Living Dead's the first one, and then it's Day of the Dead. I've watched them all now, over 31 Days of Horror. This one I had already seen before, but this was a rewatch after many years. And Scott's mentioned, he's big fan of these movies, and they are great movies. They are really good, and yeah, shout out to Scott for kind of just mentioning these movies. I've like kind of encouraged me to watch them, hearing he's like interested in them even more so, and I really enjoyed the three I've watched. I think there's quite a few, and there's several remakes. I know, for me, I still like the remake more than this one. And it's similar to, I think the remake, again, is similar to the Fright Night remake, where you can appreciate both. Because the Dawn of the Dead remake, although it's, similar thing where it's set in the mall, I feel like it's a completely different movie. I don't think I'm not sure whether they use any of the same names. I don't think they do. Maybe I'm wrong. But to me, the characters in that movie and the story is completely different. The only similarities is the shopping mall, and apart from that, it's completely different. I think with this one as well, it's got like a really fleshed out beginning to the story as well, before they actually get to the shopping mall in this one. So it's a completely different story, and that's why I can appreciate both. I just do prefer the remake. Something I just think is a really solid movie, that one. But this is one I can also really enjoy. I think it's a great movie. I love the music in it. I think, when they go to the shopping mall, it's fun. It's just seeing how they can survive in this shopping mall, how they take it over. When they're initially going in, and they're going into the clothing bit, and they're locking the doors and running up and down the stairs to distract the zombies. I think it's just dead fun. It always makes me think, like, if you were in that scenario, if there was a zombie apocalypse, I mean, everyone would be at the shopping centres, wouldn't they? It'd be, because of this movie now, it's made it the worst place to go to if in the zombie apocalypse. But yeah, great movie. Director's cut, I don't know whether this is different from like the original theatrical cut. I don't know whether there's extended material on this. I can't remember the version I watched years ago, but it felt like this was longer, but maybe it's because I've not watched it in a while. Maybe I just forgot parts of it. But yeah, solid watch, the original Dawn of the Dead movie, folks. Next, I'm going to go to another one. This one I streamed. It was the Invisible Man remake. Came out a few years ago, and this is fantastic. Really good. I've heard really good things about this over the years. Never got checked out. I think it's Blumhouse Horror who done this one. Um, is it Elizabeth Moss? Who's let me just Google that because I'm just gonna. I need to start doing these names. So Elizabeth Moss. I think it's the lady from Mad. Yeah, Elizabeth Moss. I thought I knew the name. Elizabeth Moss stars in this as the main sort of protagonist character. She's in this relationship that isn't a very how would you describe it? The male counterpart in this female male relationship is treated her awful. Psychologically, mental abuse, and she gets away. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but then it turns out he's now then he's dead in the story, and then she starts getting she's in a friend's house trying to rebuild her life, and then weird things start happening in this Invisible Man story, and she feels like a presence there. And there we go, the Invisible Man, and basically it's this. I don't want to say too much to spoil the story, but there is a presence of this this Invisible Man. I mean, it's I don't yeah that disturbs her, and then the story goes on, and what I will say is I've never watched any other incarnations of. I've seen different incarnations, but I've never watched an Invisible Man movie. I've seen it like in the League of Gentlemen, a few different comedies over the years, different versions of the Invisible Man. This is an incarnation I've never seen before. This psychological, horrible person who is the Invisible Man in this particular story. And I won't spoil who the Invisible Man turns out to be, but it is a fantastic movie. What I like about this as well, it's kind of one and done. I don't think you could do another movie to this. I think maybe I that's what I like about it. It's a standalone movie. It works on its own. You're not craving a sequel. It's perfect. It is a really, really solid movie. Really probably another one that I will end up picking up along the way. I'm thinking a few over the 31 Days of Horror. What I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to watch this again. I would like to pick this up. And that is one definitely down the line I think I'd probably like to pick up because it's a really good movie. But yeah, great use of the character there. I think it's a really good film. Really dark, really grit. Not like, yeah, just really dark, realist. It feels like, it's a real sense of realism to this character, the way they do it. I think it's really well done. Really, really well done, this story. Next up, another movie I streamed. It was The Monkey. This was recommended to me by Keith from Euphoria Pictures, so big thank you to Keith for recommending that to us. He actually mentions this to us when we did a stream a couple of months back, one or two movies, but this was one I checked them both out that I wanted to discuss today in the video. This is a great, really fun movie. It's a Stephen King short story. I think it's directed by James Wan, or he's produced this movie. Basically, to sum it up, it's basically a more comedy version of Final Destination. It's this toy monkey, and the monkeys they're monkey toys that do like the drums. And you start the story off years before it gets to present time of this this guy. He goes in trying to sell it, and basically, if they wind up the monkey at the back it has a key, and you wind it up, and then it starts doing the drumming noise. When they wind it up, someone dies, and the monkey chooses who dies. And these are all horrible deaths that happen. But it is still a funny. It is quite. I think it's a comedy more. It feels more like a comedy, not like a laugh in your face. There's a joke here. There's a joke here. The way the death scenes are played out, the way the story plays out, it is definitely leaning into horror comedy for sure. So and some of the deaths are quite gruesome, but it was quite funny the way when you're watching it. I will say, I'm not going to say too much, but the pool scene, particularly there's a scene that features a pool. It is really funny. I thought it was. I was cracking up laughing. I'll say no more. But yeah, it's a fun movie. And it takes place in the future. These two, this one guy plays dual roles of these two twins, the sons of the father who owned the monkey previously, and they're discovering it over the years and how it impacts their lives, and then how to kind of like control this and stop it from causing any more havoc and any more death. And it's a really solid movie, one I really enjoyed. So big thank you to Keith from Euphoria Pictures. I'm going to leave the links in for both Keith and Scott below as well. If you've never checked out their channels, definitely check them out, guys. Next up, finally, the last movie I want to discuss today, the best one that, saving the best to last. It is Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition. 4K. I'm so pleased to get this. I got this. This is as well a practice of patience always pays off. Got this for $9.99 at HMV in a sale. $9.99, folks. Superb. The Ultimate Edition is about 30 minutes extra than the original theatrical cut. I remember watching the theatrical cut and thinking it was okay. Watched the extended Ultimate Edition when it came out, and it changed the movie for me. I think it adds a lot more to it. I think it made it a much more watchable and much more better movie, and really enjoyable movie. Seeing Superman and Batman go up against each other, I think Ben Affleck is I think for me he's the best Batman we've ever had. But he's superb. He's absolutely superb. Zack Snyder directed the movie, obviously the movie before his Justice League Snyder Cut. It's a solid movie. I love the artwork as well. You've got this, Superman one side in this sort of like this red and blue colour, and then Batman on the other side, his face. It's like, it's Face Off basically, isn't it? This is great. I love it. Face Off, awesome. So awesome. But yeah, seen it. As soon as I seen it on HMV, added it to the basket, $9.99, and as soon as it was gone then, it was sold. So no sooner than later. Great movie. I think it's a solid watch. 4K, it looks spectacular. And yeah, it's just a fun movie. I think it's really entertaining. I say what you will about the Snyderverse, that version of the DCEU, whatever you want to call it. I think it was really good. The Man of Steel, Dawn of Justice, Justice League, the Snyder Cut. Them three movies, then The Flash as well. I think The Flash was really good. First Wonder Woman was solid. And first Aquaman was really decent. I've never seen the second one, but that one is a great. I think this is a standout from that set of movies. It is a great movie. I'm so happy to get in the collection because it was out of print for a while. Couldn't get it on Amazon, or I would have to pay over the odds. HMV, I couldn't see it for ages, and when I seen it, it was like, it's patience. I've been waiting for it. I thought, I'm going to see it at some point. It's going to be in the collection. One I really wanted. Bided my time, and I got it. Really happy, really pleased about that. So, patience pays off. So that's it for another episode, folks. And yeah, let me know what you think of these movies I've watched over October. The movies, I've really enjoyed all of these watches. They've all been really good viewings. Let me know if you got any of these on physical, you watch them digitally, have you been watching them this month maybe. Let me know all your thoughts. And maybe the most important one, Batman vs Superman, the Ultimate Edition of Dawn of Justice. What do you think of that compared to the theatrical? Did you watch that and change your opinion of it on the original cut? Did you enjoy it more, or were you not really that impressed in it? Let me know your thoughts on that, folks. It's I really think it is a solid movie. I think it's one of my favourite Batman movies. Definitely up there with The Dark Knight for me. Thank you very much for joining me for this episode, ladies and gents. Remember to spread a bit of movie cheer, and as always, I will see you next time.